Welcome back. You're watching HLN Now. I'm Mike Alanis. All right, it looks like we're kind of getting that mixed message from Donald Sterling. Again, yesterday was the day he was supposed to give his response to the NBA's charges. But look at this situation here. On one hand, it looks like he's authorizing his wife, Shelley, to sell the team. She says she has offers. An announcement could be made within the week, could sell for $1 billion. On the other hand, Sterling's given the NBA a 26-page response to the charges against him. And we know the charges, that he damaged the league, disparaged African Americans, and other charges in there. Now, Sterling fired off some key points in his 26-page response that I have in my hands here, that this was just a lover's quarrel, secretly and illegally recorded, that the punishment doesn't fit the crime. And also in the midst of this, there's a warning to other owners out there, and you wonder, okay, is he trying to sway some votes? Very interesting. We're going to go through these in more detail. Joining us to do that is the sports and entertainment attorney, Dominic Romano. Dominic, before we get into the particulars, do you see this as a mixed message? I mean, is the guy going to fight or not?
Definitely a mixed message. On one hand, he's trying not to get voted off the island by his peers. On the other hand, there's a preparation for sale.
There, boom, that's it. Well, let's get to some of the arguments here, and I want to use your legal mind and you see if these arguments are worth their salt. One of them, private conversation. This is illegally recorded and should not be used for any purposes. Does that hold water or not?
Well, if this were a court of law, it might. And California is a two-party consent state. But the league constitution is governed by New York law, single-party consent. So Stiviano obviously knew she was recording and consented to the recording. But look, this is a red herring, really, because this is not a judicial proceeding. This is a private organization. It's a private association. He signed on to that constitution and bylaws, and he signed on to the franchise agreement. So he can't now set all that aside and say, new rules apply, court rules apply.
There you go. And in this, again, I've got the 26 pages right here. It seems like a little message to the owners. Dominic, I'm going to read this to you and see what you think of it. He says this: if Mr. Sterling's lover's tiff is a position or action, the NBA ownership should be put on notice that any of their private comments and conversations, including their most intimate, will now be considered a position or action under the agreement and undertaking. And if some of those comments happen to leak, it may become grounds for their termination as owners. That's not subtle. That's like, hey, you really want to vote me out? Well, you better watch what you're saying as well, right?
Yeah, it's the old let he who's without sin cast the first stone argument, that you guys don't have clean hands either, so who are you to accuse me? But the fact is, arguably, he's caused serious economic harm and continuing harm to the NBA. And it's not just the private conversation, right? He went on with Anderson Cooper, and he repeated some of the, he made additional comments about Magic Johnson and further arguably brought disrepute to the league. And that's what the NBA is surely going to argue. Yeah.
Other arguments in there is that, he's being overpunished here. You've got past infractions, and it was a fine, but nothing to this degree. A few examples: Kobe Bryant had a homophobic slur, got fined $100,000. Shaquille O'Neal, a couple of missteps. Recently, as a former player and commentator, accused of publicly mocking a man on Instagram with a rare genetic disorder, also offended the Chinese community when he was a player with comments or jabs at Yao Ming. It was Mark Cuban, $100,000 fine for getting after the refs, and Ron Artest in the fight with Pacer fans, 72-game suspension. Are those valid arguments? Are those good arguments or not?
Well, he's making that argument, and he's also saying, look, there was one court case which I won on discrimination. But the league is going to say, look, it's your body of work. It's your body of arguable offenses. And then you went on television where you had an opportunity to be contrite, to apologize. And instead you made further remarks that were questionable. And so I think it's the whole body of behavior that's at issue here in this vote next week.
Got it. And again, they say they're going to vote. Again, that's June 3rd. We'll keep everybody posted. Dominic, appreciate it. Thanks for your time.